If you're over 60, listen up. Look, if you're over 60 years old or you have a family member who is, you need to hear this right now. You absolutely should never, ever order coffee or tea on a plane. That innocent-looking drink may be the one thing that turns your clean, flowing blood into thick sludge and dramatically increases your risk of a stroke at 35,000 feet. I will expose the exact airline that had a 100% failure rate on initial water tests in 2022 in the next 15 seconds. You cannot skip this. The question isn't whether the water is clean. The question is whether you are willing to risk your life for a $4 cup of coffee. Let's dive in. I want to start with the core problem. The one thing that makes all of this possible. That little cup of coffee or tea is not made with clean, sealed bottled water. It's made with tap water, pulled from the aircraft's massive onboard storage tank. Let me break this down in the simplest way possible. The issue is pure, old-fashioned neglect. Those tanks and the piping system are rarely, and I mean rarely, maintained. The pipes become a perfect warm breeding ground for bacteria for weeks or months at a time. The maintenance is reactive, not preventative. They simply wait until they get caught. The shocking part? There's a law that governs this, but that law is the bare minimum requirement. And trust me, the minimum is terrifying. The EPA's own rules, the Aircraft Drinking Water Rule, or ADWR, only require airlines to disinfect and flush those enormous water tanks 4 times a year. You're washing your dishes more frequently than the airlines are cleaning the source of your hot drinks. This exposes a systemic failure. To fully understand why this rule is so inadequate, we need to go back to the beginning. Many people first heard about this issue back in 2004, when the EPA first dropped a massive study. That study was shocking because it found 13% of the tested planes didn't meet EPA standards. That wasn't a small number. That meant 1 in every 8 planes had water quality issues. The contamination was usually coliform, which is a major red flag indicating potential disease-causing organisms. This finding was so severe it led directly to the creation of the ADWR rule, which started regulating the water tanks in 2011. It proves this isn't a new problem. It's a decades-long struggle between regulators and minimal compliance from the airlines. One study cited airlines like Republic Airways scoring a dismal 0.44 out of 5 on water health standards. My personal analysis: this is a system built on minimum compliance, not maximum safety. And that's the definition of a terrifying secret. The stakes here are terrifyingly high. We're not talking about just dirty water. We are talking about serious pathogens. According to the EPA data that was analyzed between late 2019 and late 2022, almost 5%, 4.96% to be exact, of water samples taken from US passenger planes tested positive for coliform or E. coli. And get this, since the start of 2022 alone, that contamination rate actually increased to 6%. That trend tells you the problem is getting worse, not better, despite all the public scrutiny. In 2022, for certain airlines like United and Allegiant, every single one of their initial routine water samples contained E. coli. This isn't a rumor. This is reported by the EPA itself. Now let's talk names. Overall, from 2019 to 22, SkyWest Airlines recorded the most positive E. coli samples, followed closely by Spirit and American Airlines. And remember that 100% failure rate? To be fair to the airlines, they are mandated to perform a follow-up test, and they did pass those follow-up inspections later, showing they can clean the systems. But my analysis is crucial. They are failing 100% of their initial routine tests. It proves that the maintenance is reactive. They wait until they get caught to clean the tank, instead of cleaning it preventatively. Hey, if you're still watching, let me know in the comments right now. Which airline have you flown that you suspect has the dirtiest coffee? I want to see your stories. Now, let's tackle the biggest myth that keeps people ordering these drinks. They boil the water. That kills everything. That is false. Environmental scientists confirm that while boiling might kill the more common organisms, it may not reliably kill all pathogens lurking in those tanks. Why? Because at 40,000 feet, water boils at roughly 190 degrees Fahrenheit, or 88 degrees Celsius. That is not the full 212 degrees Fahrenheit or 100 degrees Celsius needed to fully sterilize water. The plane's system is essentially a high-altitude incubator for whatever survived that initial lukewarm boil. It's a scientific fact that the system is built on a failing premise. I mean, if you're going to risk E. coli, at least make sure it's a properly boiled E. coli, right? And the contamination chain starts long before the water even reaches the tank. Studies suggest most of the bacteria transfer happens from the contaminated tanker trucks that deliver the water. But here's my personal insight that makes me physically cringe. At some airports, the hose used to pump clean water is often stored or even located right next to the valve used to empty the lavatory waste. This is the textbook definition of cross-contamination. The flight attendants know it. They actively avoid touching the tap water dispensers because they know the risk. Now we get to the most critical reason for our viewers over 60. That drink you love, that coffee or tea, is actually the enemy. It is the one thing that may turn your clean, flowing blood into sticky, thick sludge. For seniors, the biggest threat on a long-haul flight is deep vein thrombosis, or DVT. This is a blood clot that forms typically in the legs and can lead to a pulmonary embolism or stroke. Your DVT risk already increases significantly on a flight just because of immobility and sitting for long periods. But here's the connection that could save your life. Coffee and tea are powerful diuretics. They make you go to the bathroom, and more importantly, they are dehydrating. Dehydration on a long flight causes your blood to thicken, making it much easier for those dangerous clots, or DVT, to form. You are taking a voluntary step that may significantly increase your risk of DVT, which could lead to a serious medical emergency. As medical experts recommend, you should be drinking about 250 milliliters, just over 1 full cup, of water per hour when flying. My final life-saving advice? Avoid coffee and tea entirely. Stick to sealed, bottled water only. Hydrating properly is the single best thing you can do to actively fight DVT and jet lag. Still watching? Good, because that dirty water is just one secret. The airlines have several more they hope you don't discover. Secret number 1. Flight attendants hate pouring Diet Coke. Why? Because the carbonation at 40,000 feet makes it fizz up so much, it takes 3 times longer to pour one Diet Coke than any other drink. If you want to annoy your flight attendant, just ask for Diet Coke. Secret number 2. Those complimentary blankets and pillows? They deserve the Shame on You award. Only the lining is changed, but you still have the pillow that was used by the last passenger underneath. The blankets are rarely washed properly. Bring your own. And secret number 3. That tray table is absolutely disgusting. Cleaners don't have time to sanitize every tray between flights. Bring your own wipes. To recap the most dangerous facts: stop drinking any hot beverage from an airplane. The water is routinely contaminated with E. coli and coliform, often failing initial EPA tests on major carriers like United and Spirit. The system is fundamentally flawed, and for our senior viewers, the dehydration risk from that diuretic coffee may increase your DVT risk, a risk you simply don't need to take. The airlines are prioritizing minimal compliance over passenger health, and it's up to you to protect yourself. If this video saved you from a potential flight nightmare, you know what to do. Hit the like button and let me know in the comments, what is the dirtiest thing you've ever seen on a plane? Your comment could be featured in our next video. And speaking of things the airlines hide, the TSA has quietly banned 6 common everyday items you might have right now in your carry-on. Click right here on the screen to watch my video. Shocking 6 everyday common items airlines actually just banned. You need to know these before your next flight. I've been your host, and I'll see you in the next analysis.